Hey, counsel. So today we're going to be talking about your essential law firm key performance indicators and how critical they are for really doing anything in your law firm and going forward and understanding the health of your company and being able to make wise, prudent decisions strategically on exactly what you ought to do in order to hit the goals you have set. So you need to know your numbers. Back when I was doing soliciting angel investing, VC capital, venture capital, they'd always be asking, what are your numbers? You need to know your numbers. You know exactly what they are, have them off the top of your head. So for lawyers, especially, you need to know what the basic metrics are, not just on the marketing side of things, but even on the fulfillment side, productivity side, customer status, client satisfaction side. You need to have data on all of these things and be tracking them closely in order to continue to optimize, to improve, and to hiring someone, firing someone, any of those types of situations where we can utilize data to make the right decision. That's where we need to know and track that data. So, but to start off, really, I want to talk about basic ones being, so on a marketing side, your cost per lead and your cost per lead for all your sources. So whether that's Google, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, any kind of email marketing, you need to know cost per lead for each of those sources. And then we need to know your cost per acquisition for each of those sources. And then overall, what's your client lifetime value? What's your LTV or CLTV, just to give some basics on planning out your budget. So if you want to go the paid ads route, you really want to start with a budget of $3,000 to $5,000 a month minimum, because you need that amount in order to get enough data. I have some lawyers that'll come to us and say, I tried Google ads, I tried Facebook, we only spent $500 and we didn't get anything out of it. Well, that's because that's not enough data in order for you to get even enough leads in order to convert into a client. Let's say it costs you $1,500 to acquire one client. And that one client is, let's just say it's going to be worth $5,000 for that initial retainer. With a $3,000 budget, that's going to bring in on average 2 clients. So $10,000, so that's 233% ROI. And if it's $5,000, bring in $15,000 in fees with 3 clients, so 200% ROI. So anytime in marketing, we want to have a minimum ROI benchmark target of 300%. So for every dollar that we're putting into our marketing, we want to get at least $3 back. So that's the basic minimum milestone to hit. And then of course we keep optimizing 5x, 7x, 10x, and above and beyond as you keep refining the message, A/B split testing, talking to the customers more, getting more data, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That'll increase your ROI. One of the things that will increase the ROI. Other things that will get you, let's say that if we want to get our cost per acquisition down or CPA down. So that's, of course, if we're going to be talking to more qualified leads, we're doing better intaking, better follow-up and nurturing, whether that's text, email, videos, embedded into all of that, client reviews, testimonials, as much proof as we can, getting in front of the prospect over and over with that type of value, better sales training and execution, a better sales script, a consistent script, using it repeatedly, systematically every time, and then having a better offer. We talk a lot about developing what's called an irresistible offer. And this is the thing that will really set you apart from all of your competition. And you never to be talking about the price war ever again, because when they hire you, they are hiring you with all of this bundle of stuff, all this bundle of value that they're not going to get from anyone else. So we go into detail on that in other videos and in other trainings. But all of those things, really, you combine those, that's what's going to stronger and lower CPA overall, as well as a cost per lead as well. Back to the basic KPIs. So you want to be tracking your bookings, per month, your show up rates, your no show rates, length of calls, your conversion timeline. So how long does it actually take on average for you to get a client when they first come in versus signing up on the, first or second, third contact, or after the 20th touch point. So how long is that? We want to get a handle on that. You want to get a number of leads required to get one client. So you need to know what that number is. You need to know what your closing rate is, number of new clients per month, number of repeat clients per month, new revenue, repeat revenue, recurring revenue, and then your churn rate. So, your drop off of clients. What is that? How long does that take? What's the dollar amount tied to that? Is it after $20,000? Is it after $50,000? Is it after $100,000? This is, of course, different depending what the kind of service that you're providing. It could be much smaller and much faster. And churn rate isn't always a bad thing. It's just if we need to find out, like, ratio-wise, what's a dangerous churn rate and what's a normal churn rate. So getting a handle on that, and then your cost of goods. KPIs. So your fulfillment, your billable hours, your worked versus not worked hours, your expected completion times, standardized benchmarks for your team. So how long does it take them to fill out certain documents or prepare, type up declarations, depots, motions, judgments, pleas, collecting all that data from the team, and you can identify, okay, this person does this the fastest and the most accurately, and they have, this amount of experience. So we can keep cloning them as we grow our team, and then and then we can create realistic incentives around production, and then come up with a tiered system for each step in your assembly line fulfillment process. To get that accurate, we want to track all of those points, and then even come up with individual incentives. So we want to know, every staff person's individual KPIs. What are the KPIs for every type of matter that you're fulfilling? Because it's different depending on if it's a petition, if it's a full-on divorce, if it's something else. Obviously, each matter is going to have its different components and timelines. Once you have all that, now we can start planning out ways to scale up, ways to improve, and then ways to scale up. All of the parts in your fulfillment, in your acquisition, in your fulfillment, in your review, and in your settlement processes. And all of this data, we want to track it really on what's called a law firm tracking sheet. It's basically an Excel or Google sheet that tracks all of the data in once. So you get kind of like what's called a jumbotron, and be able to look at this in real time at any point and know exactly where your law firm is at. So that's really important that you're always able to see that at any given time. And you want to train your virtual staff, your team, use different workflow automations to update this in real time based on certain triggers and events. So those are all the things that part of what we do in the law firms that we're working with, is dialing all these things in, setting up all the back end tracking, and then having all of the data just come in. Extremely important that you do this in order to know where you're at and where you want to go. Because now once we have this information, now we know if it's going to cost us $1,500 to acquire one $5,000 client, and everything is dialed in, then if we just increase the marketing budget, let's say on Google, we can realistically project how much revenue is going to come in simply by just turning up the ad spend. And that's how you can scale very quickly, depending on the market, what it is that you're offering, and how big that market is, and then also how big is your referral base as well to scale up. Just to recap, so cost per lead, cost per acquisition, client lifetime value. You want to know your bookings per month, your show up rates, no show rates, length of calls, your conversion timeline, number of leads required to get one client, your closing rate, number of new clients, number of repeat clients, new revenue, repeat revenue, recurring revenue, your churn rate, all of your fulfillment KPIs, including your individual staff members and individual matter types. So this isn't an exhaustive list, but this is the bare essentials that you should be tracking right now. And something that Dan Kennedy says is, how much are you willing to spend to obtain a customer? And the one who spends the most amount of money, or is able to spend the most amount of money, that's the business, company, law firm that's going to always win. Position yourselves to get these things dialed in as fast as you can and come up with a really great offer that distinguishes you from the competition, and then build that out, source it so that you can spend as much money as possible to get more customers. And that's how you can really scale up quickly. And these are all the things that we would help you with if you are one of our partners. And we just continue to optimize day, week, month, all these things. So I hope that this was helpful. This gave you some insights on how to prepare for your marketing strategy and for just planning this new year. And if you want the tracking sheet, you can click the link in the description. You can download a copy of that. And you can start filling it in, putting it to work for you right away. But I hope this was helpful to you, and look forward to seeing you in the next video.